Well, guys, thanks again for everybody being here at this. What is this? Our fourth basketball and banter now. I think 4 or 5, although we lose track with
Every
everything.
3 months.
But it's great to do these. I love it, Coach. I mean, I don't know many programs that open up like you guys do with the film we went over last time. That was amazing. So, appreciate you and all the coaches and players jumping on this and giving everybody a lot of insight that, for my money, I don't know a lot of programs that open it up like this. So we really appreciate you guys jumping in. And I know we got more video footage in store for this one too. So thanks again to the coaches and players. And we're also joined by, of course, President Andy Feinstein, Athletic Director Darren Dunn. Guys, as always, it's always an honor to have you guys jumping in on this one too. Big week ahead for UNC. So we're excited to have you. Dr. Feinstein, also chair of the Big Sky President's Council too. So a man of many hats. And I know you guys had a lot of tough decisions throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, we did. And thanks, Brady. Thanks, Coach Smiley, for inviting me on here. It's great to be here. Great to be joined by some of our alumni and round ball donors again. And I do love these meetups. They're a great way to get to know more about the team, hear what's happening. I'm also very excited about Wednesday and playing beating Sac State. It's been a challenging year for all of us. It's been a challenging year for the team. It's certainly been a challenging year as a fan. I've kind of snuck into a lot of games and really enjoyed watching the team mature and play, and looking forward to this week. Want to thank all of our supporters on the call for being there with us through thick and thin. And I know we've also got some student athletes on the call as well. I'm happy that they're here too. So looking forward to what Coach has to say, looking forward to this week, and just looking forward to watching some basketball. So thanks again.
Yeah, no, thank you for jumping in there for a moment. Yeah, pumped for this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Mountain time for us, 8:30 pregame, and then we'll get set for tip-off 9 o'clock on Wednesday. So, I got an excuse not to do some work on Wednesday morning, so that'll be exciting. Excited for that one. Coach, there's no way around it, man. When you look at everything that's happened with COVID and the quarantines and your situation, I mean, it seemed like you guys didn't play for to me, it seemed like it was about a year in between games. So you got to talk to us a little bit about what that stretch was like. Both two stretches, really, Thanksgiving and a good chunk of February.
Yeah. Going back to, it was about a year ago today where we were sitting in the infamous breakfast room. I think Darren was there, and we were sitting there getting ready. We'd already had our 30-minute practice on the court. And Darren, I think, came up to Coach Leonard and told him the news that we were done. And that was, I think it was about a year ago today, like I said. So, now getting into this year, start of the season, we're getting ready for games right around Thanksgiving. We've gotten through no issues. We're ready to roll. We've had a great fall after having no summer. And we got drilled with, just a COVID pause, a quarantine. At that point in time, we missed 6 games, and then everything went pretty smooth all the way through Christmas and through the start of the season. And then basically the whole month of February was completely decimated as well with the big pause. So, just getting to this point in time and getting 3 or 4 games in to where we feel like we're kind of, at least back on our feet. I think that's good. And I think too that, like we told our guys going into that Weber State game, and I know we'll talk about that, but that was the first game in our last 10 games, even with the pause. That was the first time that we actually had a full roster available to us. So, and our guys played really well in that Weber game, which we'll talk about. But it's just start and stop, the whole year. It's frustrating for coaches, but it's probably more frustrating for players, that you put all this work in, and then all of a sudden you got to say, hey, listen, we're not playing tonight, or it's time to quarantine. So our guys have done a great job at pushing forward with it, but it's been as they say, a season unlike any other.
Yeah, well, and like you said, the start and stop, I mean, that can be frustrating. We're seeing programs all over the country, and there's programs going through it, a lot of the same situations, but the start and stop had to be what's so frustrating, Coach, especially when it comes to basketball. It's all about repetition and getting those practices in and leading up to those games. And you guys were thrown off one long stretch and then another long stretch, and then, of course, what we hit over the weekend too. So that had to be one of the more frustrating aspects of it.
Yeah, and I think we told our guys this weekend, for those that saw that our game got canceled pretty much the last second, it's very similar to there was a team in the Missouri Valley tournament, Northern Iowa, that was getting ready to play. I think it was Drake or one of the top teams, and they got canceled while they were warming up on the court. And that was the end of their season. It was shut down, and that was it. And at least for us, when we got the word to cancel the game, which was the right move for both teams, but it wasn't the end of our season. And so that's what it was like. Okay, we still got Boise, we still got the tournament, which is the most important part. But yeah, to be out there, to have a great game on Thursday, a phenomenal college basketball game, to make the adjustments on Friday and getting ready to go. And we're 10 minutes from loading up the bus. And we kept telling Coach Klump to stall the bus and stall our guys in the conference room. They didn't know what was going on. And eventually, after the appropriate people talked about it, and we shut it down, we had to walk in there and tell them it's done. And I don't know how many times I've told our guys, the old quote, "Life isn't fair," So yeah. That's about all you can tell at that point in time. But it's been wild. We've probably missed about 40 practices. We've had players quarantined, isolated. We had coaches that have been away from the team for weeks at a time, just different stuff. So, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to make us stronger. So that part's good.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, Coach. Again, as a team, and your first year taking over this team, how do you feel? What was the frustration level like with the guys? Did everybody handle it pretty well, or like you said, do you kind of you almost just prepare yourself for this, knowing there's going to be at some point some kind of stoppage of play or practice? What was that frustration level like? And at some point, did it just kind of feel like it maybe peaked?
Yeah, I think you get a little bit used to it. I think probably you just get a little bit numb to it. You kind of prepare for it a little bit, and it's just like, well, okay. And I know my guy Rod's on the call, but Rod had a tweet last week. I think it was the governor of Texas said, "Hey, we're fully back, unmasked, and we're ready to rock and roll." And Rod subtweeted something like, "Please don't do that. I can't stand one more quarantine." I just started laughing. Like, everyone's kind of used to it at this point in time. And it's just been, it's nothing shocking, and that's why, getting out here to Boise is a blessing. Getting out here without any issues and being here and getting ready to play in just over 24 hours. It's really exciting because every game, every practice is honestly a blessing this year because you don't know when your next one is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know we want to get into more details on the Boise update and kind of recap the last game. We have some footage there, so that'll be exciting. But as you mentioned, we have lone senior Rod McCobb on the line. We'll get to him. Rod, are you there? We'll jump over to you, man.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, first off, just congrats on getting through the season. I mean, it was, like I said, it was stop and go. It was crazy. But how important was that for you, being the lone senior? Nobody's gone through this, but your senior leadership, I would say, was valued at an all-time high. Seniors on any team. Was that something that you knew right when all this happened? All right, I gotta step up and be more of a vocal leader too.
When I first started talking about what was going to happen this year with COVID last year, and I knew it was going to be my last year. Wait, can you guys hear me, or is it breaking up?
Yeah, we got you.
You're good.
When all this happened, I knew that I didn't know like it was going to last this long. We were all thinking it was going to be a couple weeks, and then once we were sent home and quarantined home, and then we were on Zoom and all that, I kind of realized that my senior year was going to be really different than everybody else's. So, me, I just kept picking at it. I got to stay positive. I'm the only senior. So, I've always been the most vocal on my team wherever I've been. So stepping up and being more vocal wasn't a big issue with me. And all the guys are really respectful and they listen. So it's not really a problem. So, it's just something that's natural to me and normal. So it is what it is. It's COVID. So nothing you can do about it.
Was there a point when obviously you get the start of this going back to last year and you're thinking, okay, well, eventually this is going to slow down, but then you get to this season and we announce that we're getting a season and that's exciting. But pretty much from day one, you guys, whether it was you guys or other teams, had schedule issues. Was there a point when you kind of threw your hands up, like, when are we going to get back to some kind of a normal deal? Or was that just something you put aside?
It was just one day at a time. Like Coach Smiley says, like, you never know what's going to happen. Like, games get canceled. We put in all that work and then we're all in condition, and then games get canceled. We can't practice. And then we go back to practice and we can't breathe because we've been in quarantine. And it's just, it's one day at a time. You just got to keep pushing, keep practicing, and if it happens, it happens. But you just got to have a positive mindset. But for me, I mean, it is what it is. You just got to keep pushing. If we don't get a game, I mean, at the end of the day, I was really worried about whether this year was going to be my last year in terms of like getting a 0 year or not. But I mean, they passed that, so I kind of got through. I was kind of, it was smooth after that. But it is what it is. You got to keep pushing through, whether you get canceled or no practice, or it's just a blessing to be out there to be able to play when you don't get canceled. That's basically all it is.
Yeah. Well, again, man, good luck on Wednesday. Looking forward to it. Should be a fun game for you guys. And I know, I speak on behalf of the entire crew of UNC, the college, the program, but thank you for your leadership, man. Again, I can't imagine what you guys are going through. So thank you for everything you did for this program.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, we got some more players on the line too. Bodie Hume, Matt Johnson II. Congratulations to both of those guys. I don't know if a lot of the folks on this call saw the Big Sky Conference Awards coming out, but both Bodie and Matt named to the third team All Big Sky. So pretty exciting there. Two outstanding players. Bodie Hume, we'll jump over to you first. Bodie, if you're there, talking about this time last year, I remember, you guys, it seemed like you guys were warming up and there was all the talk going on around the conference tournaments and whether or not they were going to make it. Bodie, if you're there, man, can you speak to us a little bit about that situation last year and then maybe compare it to where we are almost a year later?
Yeah, I definitely think it's been a change for us. Matt and I were joking. He was talking to me about it yesterday. I think he said last year was the first opportunity he was actually going to get to play in a Big Sky tournament, and he was pretty frustrated, just like the rest of us. The day we found out, we shot around. We had our 30-minute shoot around. We got back, started eating breakfast, and they said our tournament's canceled. Our dreams are done, crushed. I mean, I don't know. We had a lot of terms that we could use to really not make a whole lot of sense of what was going on. But it was very frustrating for us to lose that opportunity, especially feeling as good as we did going into that tournament. And leading up to this one, I mean, we're excited. We lost our last game, but we've actually clicked in a lot of places that we haven't clicked in a long time, and we're playing pretty well as a unit right now, which is really exciting for us to kind of go out and see, especially being on this side of the bracket that we are. We're playing teams we haven't played yet, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's what's interesting too. And like you said, it seems like the last few games getting some momentum, but was there a point throughout the season with the stop and go? Did you just feel like you just couldn't get your footing as a team?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It causes a lot of problems, a lot of agendas to change, a lot of flows to just not happen. When you get on through a season, like people say, like there's the dog days of the season in January and February, but like for us, we were just hoping we could play at this point, and having absolutely no rhyme or reason to why we're playing games or why we're not playing games. It sucks, and we're just been thankful for every opportunity we've gotten to play.
Yeah. Well, again, I know we're all pumped to see you guys play on Wednesday. Matt, I know you're there. I can see you right next to Bodie. So Matt, congratulations to you as well. Both you guys getting named to that third team All Big Sky. And man, your story is so cool. Walk on, red shirt. You didn't touch the floor till your third year. And now look at this. I mean, you're such a joy to watch on the floor, and it's been a great year for you. And just congratulations, man. It's been fun to watch you.
I really appreciate that. Appreciate it.
Going forward to this game Wednesday, like you said, last year you thought, okay, here's this opportunity. We're going to get to play in this thing. And then we know what happened. What is that anticipation for you, that I guess that excitement level looking forward? Hey, knowing that, knocking on wood right now, this is going to happen on Wednesday morning, getting into that conference tournament.
We're really excited right now. I mean, obviously we know the situation last year. We didn't get to play. And that was a heartbreaking for me in the sense that a couple of the Jonah, Kai, and Trent, our last year's seniors, they didn't get to have a conference tournament. They knew that, and we all knew in our hearts that we were going to get it done. We truly believe that. And this year we still have that belief. Despite how our year's going, I think we're not playing up to our fullest potential yet. which is a crazy thing. But well, I mean, in the tournament, we got to turn it up, and we're just excited to go out there and play and compete.
Well, again, we're pumped. Cannot wait. Matt, Bodie, thank you guys, and congrats again on a great regular season. And I know it was frustrating for everybody on that side, but you guys pulled through, and here we go. We get set for Wednesday. So congratulations on a good regular season, and good luck on Wednesday morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Smiley, we'll go back, that we look back at the weekend that was, or the week that was with Weber State games. With the game, I suppose it was another one of those tough situations where we find out pretty close that we're going to lose another game there. But kind of wanted you, if you could, take us through that last game that's somewhat fresh in our minds and kind of give us a recap. I know we have some extra footage we're gonna show folks on the Zoom.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a little bit of film from it. Not a highlight film, just some clips that I think are pretty cool to just kind of watch of what goes on in our minds after the game. But it's a great game. I think Weber State's probably the best team in the league after playing them. Eastern Washington's really good too, and we didn't get a chance to play Southern Utah. And I think with the rankings, it's hard to figure out where you're even really at. I mean, if we would have beaten Weber, we would have gone from where we're at to like the 6 or 5 seed because everyone's had such uneven games. And some teams have not had to play the top teams. Some teams, like for us even, we missed 3 games this year against the 9 and 10 seed that got canceled. So that can really adjust where you're at in the big scheme. But I thought we played well. They're one of the best offensive teams in the country. And, we held them 60 points. They beat us by 160-59. And I thought just our overall focus was really good on that side of the floor. And like Matt said, and Bodie said, the crazy thing is, we had so many good looks that haven't had that game yet where our top scorers, which would probably be Matt, Bodie, Dalen, and now Coors playing so well. So those are really it happens in the tournament, which glass is half full, the positive P. If that happens, we got a chance to be really good. So we'll see. But what I want to do is share my screen. I pulled out a few. Hopefully it works. I'm going to share it right now and see if this goes. With the hotel internet, you never know. But live from Boise, we're going to try it. So Brady, I can still see you on my screen. Can you guys see this?
Yep, I can see it. Got it.
All right. So it's only about 2 minutes of clip. So I just kind of broke it down into just kind of the mind of a coach after the stuff, which I think is pretty cool. So defensively, let me silence this real quick so we don't lose our ears. Okay, so defensive game plan. If you see the bottom of this screen, once I get rid of this. Okay, the first thing is we talk about, how the type of shots we want to, get teams into. And if you look at this, just my little the big gets bent green. And what happens is they had a really good player. The kid with the ball right there, Isaiah Brown, he finished, I think, number 2 in the MVP vote for the league. And our guys did a great job. And I think he shot 6 for 15 from the floor. But he's right here with the ball in white. And if he gets downhill and gets to the rim, it's over. And so as you can see, if he gets to the rim, it's just a high percentage shot. So Coor right there, well, what does that mean? If Coor's hips get bent, if he has to, bend his hips, like right here, it's over. And bent tips, he gets the rim for that at a really high level because he's a really good player. Now, the next clip, as you can see, kind of just in the saying, forcing the opponent into tough twos as the play develops. And again, we did a great job of this, but same player, same kind of situation. He comes off a ball screen, but right here, he gets stuck. Coor does a nice job being to the level of that screen, and he forces him to this shot. And if you can get a player to take those shots, even really good players, like if you watch the NBA, everyone's taking threes and layups. And why is that? Because these shots don't go in no matter how good you are. They just don't go in at near the same rate. Takes this shot, we force a tough shot. And then 2, you can see that we have all 5 of our guys in blue around that ball to rebound. So that was a good one for us. And then the last one, just a really good possession for the team, is they're moving the ball around, just a couple of little things that kind of get big picture. But you can see Jamel Melvin, who's our guy guarding, I got my little mouse here, guarding their big kid, Dante Bassett, who's a transfer from the University of Florida, really good player. So you got here, we talked about not getting buried or ducked in the post. You've got Bodie doing a nice job at the level of the screen. you got Matt going over the screen, which that was a major deal. If you go underneath these guys' screens, that they just kill you on threes. And then two, which is the behind the scenes stuff, you got Dalen Kuntz right here getting into a position to what we call tag the roller. So he hits the kid right here, slows his roll down, and then it becomes a one-on-one game in the post. And Jamel, who's going to be a really good player for us, 6'10", 6'11" freshman, once he gets a body and puts some weight on him, he's going to be special. And Jamel, sorry about that, holds his ground on the senior from Florida, blocks a shot, good to go. We just can't come up with the ball. Now, offensively, just a few things. As I kind of went through this, also about the biggest thing we wanted to do in this game is put 2 on the ball. And what that means is, as the play is developing, I'll show you where, okay, right there, Bodie put 2 on the ball. And whether it's through driving, passing, whatever, if we can get 2 on the ball, they've got 1-2 guys on Bodie right before he passes this ball. You put 2 on the ball, and then you got to make the unselfish play. He gets to play to Trey, and so Trey gets a great shot here. Or if he wants to pass it to Matt, we work on that pass all the time. It's a wide open shot there too. Trey gets the shot, and again, we lose by 1, and we had about 10 of these shots that are great shots and just went off the back half. So we didn't make that one. Same idea here. Matt this is a great clip for our people to watch. So Matt puts 2 on the ball, boom, boom, sees Coor, puts 2 on the ball. So now Coor has 2 on the ball. He's unselfish. He finds Bodie. We get a great shot. And that's where, again, we believe that we can take it to another level offensively in this tournament if we start making shots. So now Dalen puts 2 on the ball. Same thing. Just as simple as it sounds. Just put 2 on the ball. Now they got to rotate, and we felt like they were not a good team in rotations. He rotates it. 1 more here. 1 more here. Matt Johnson, who's on, Matt's shooting almost 50% from 3. And Matt was 1 for 13 in this game. He was 1 for 8 from 3 on shots that he made all year long. And you can live with that result. When you miss them, you miss them. Matt misses it. It is what it is. Okay, and I'll skip to this next one. And the last thing is kind of cool too, because you'll see this against Sacramento State, the idea of when we come off ball screens, we always have our backside guy rolling up. We call that a lift. And Matt knows that's Trey right there. He lifts up, and that's a shot we work on every day, all day, and you make that shot. And the only other thing I want to show, just the development of Coor, because Coor's just been so good recently. And the first thing on his development is really basic. But Coach Green on our staff, Coach Dorian, he used to play for Larry Eustace. Whenever you get 2 fouls, playing for Larry Eustace, he'd come out and he'd say, "Why would you eliminate yourself from the game?" And so that's our big kick right now. Now, the thing with Coor is Coor's stats have gone up so much over the last 6 games because he's not fouling. So it's not a miracle, magical thing that we've done. He's just, as you can see on my little thing, he's not fouling as much, so he's not eliminating himself from the game. So right here, okay, they attacked Coor in the post. They attacked all our guys. Really good player, Kobe Carlson, tries to go one-on-one against Coor in the post. That would have been a foul multiple times early in the season. Coor has the discipline now not to foul him. He walls up. He gets to stay in the game. We become alive. Now, the next one is just the idea that Coor had 15 rebounds in this game. And then in the previous 2 games against Portland State, I think he had a combined 29 rebounds in 2 games. So just Coor's rebounding is at the highest level right now. So you can see this too. As Coor attacks this glass, I mean, Dalen's going to make this layup most of the time, but you got to assume you have to assume every shot's a miss. Coor crashes in there without fouling, gets 2 hands on it, rebounds it, he gets fouled. And the last thing that's really cool, just watching Coor here on some of our stuff, sets the ball screen. Matt does a nice job finding him. Now they rotate over. They put 2 on the ball, so Coor's got to slow down and let the play develop. Now it's single coverage in the post. He plays at a slow pace, and he scores. So I think those are just 3 things to just share with the people as I get out of this and stop sharing my screen, that as you're watching us play, really important to know kind of how we do want to play. Like in the game for Weber State, a big focus was putting 2 on the ball. And our guys did a great job of that. I think we were 9 for 29 from 3. And, you make 2 or 3 more threes. Bodie had great looks, missed a couple ones. If those start falling in, then it's a totally different story. But I think we did a good job in that. And I just think, too, like Coor, like why is Coor playing so much better? we're keeping him in the game because he's not fouling as much. Is probably the most important thing there, for people to see. And that's, Coors development's just been so rapid over the last 3 to 4 weeks. And if he keeps playing like that in the tournament, we do have a real chance.
Coach, what's so unique about that? A close game and a tough place to play, no matter what kind of season it is. But like you said, this is a good Big Sky Conference basketball team. But you guys have only played 4 games. Was it 4 games since January 29th? So, I mean,
Yeah.
Getting everything together, that to me is kind of, I mean, it's pretty impressive. You look at your squad and what you guys were able to do as you see player progression too, considering you've only played a handful of games and, over a month as you prepare for the Big Sky Conference tournament. I think that bodes really well.
Well, I think too, going back to, over our last 10 games, we've never had a full roster. And, we're not a program that's going to make a bunch of excuses, but, you play Portland State twice, which presses for 40 minutes, and we didn't have our starting point guard, Trey Smoots, in either one of those games. Kind of an important deal, to have your point guard against a team that presses for 40 minutes. Bryce Kennedy, who helped us beat Eastern Washington, and then he got shut down, and we didn't have him at Northern Arizona. And so, again, I think that finally having our roster back and playing the way that we wanted to play, I was really encouraged about how that looked. Just the development of guys like Bryce and Jamel that are young guys that are playing for us is really exciting. So feel really good about it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Moving on, looking at the Boise update, it's not just about basketball. You have to worry about everything else, as we've talked about on several of these basketball and banters with COVID. Can you talk to us a little bit about the protocols that are in place, what you guys have to go through when non-basketball related, I guess, first off? What else do you have to do before you can even get out on the floor?
It's wild, and it's not much different than the rest of the year. We're going to test every day. That's one thing. And then even too, like, we have these trackers that, I see Maddie, our trainer's on the call, and we, when we touched down, we had a small amount of time to get to a practice today at Boise State. We had two big vans or whatever. One went to get some food. One took Maddie to the hotel to get the trackers, because we had to have the trackers, because once you get to Boise, everyone's got a tracker. So they're charging right now, but they're wild. They're these little trackers you put in these lanyards. And as soon as you get 6 feet or closer to anybody, it just starts blinking red. And it's really freaky. I mean, I'm all messed up about it. Every time I start talking to someone, everyone's stuff starts blinking red, but it's to track, your distance between people. And at the end of the day, they download all the data. And if you're within, I think it's within 6 feet for 15 or more minutes, if somebody within your tier 1 bubble tests positive, if you meet those criteria, you're going to get shut down, quarantined, or whatever it is. And so it is really wild that it affects your practice. It affects your meeting room. It affects everything, because you have to wear them all the time when you're not in your hotel room. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've noticed, that, you look at contact tracing and film, and we've done that all year, but when you put a physical device on yourself, it's a weird feeling, for all of us. But that's been wild, before you have your games, before you have your practice. Like tomorrow, we'll practice at 10 a.m. and we got to test, I think at 9:15 or something like that, I think is what it is. But we got to all go over there, do our test, and make sure everything's good to go. Then you practice. But that's been pretty interesting. And just the idea of just not being shared space. I mean, what's funny about it, as we talk to our guys, like, in a normal year, what you want to do is you want to have team camaraderie, right? You want to have your players hanging out in the hotel room with each other. And our guys are actually really close, and you want them to hang out. And we've got to talk to our guys before we get on the bus to get out here. Like, hey, you cannot hang out in rooms with each other, because then you're going to shut down more guys. And we have them all strategically placed with roommates that are either their house roommates or whatever. But you can't be hanging out with 3 or 4 other teammates, because if there is something crazy, you get a positive test, everyone's shut down. We don't have a season anymore. So all the things that you want to preach with, being a close team and being together, it's all reversed right now. With, hey, you got to stay away from each other. And there's no such thing as a tight huddle, and there's no such thing as let's all get our arms together and touch teammate and this and that. That's not what it is this year. It's like, hey, space out, and we got all these things flashing red at us, and get to a point in time where there's no more red blinking. But it's been tough, but at the same point, we're here and we have a chance to play, so it's exciting.
Yeah, certainly a unique situation for everybody. And again, like we talked about several times, and we talked about on my show too, kind of in some ways it brings you closer together, even though you can't be closer together because you're bonding through this very unique experience. So, at that to me, I always think it's interesting watching you guys on the floor because you're still trying to be mindful when players are on the bench too and coaches too. I can barely keep one thought in my head, so I don't know how you guys are able to keep basketball, COVID protocols, everything, and that's all day. And you guys are constantly monitored.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, it's been unique, but I do think it bonds you together too. That we're all going through this together, and getting the nasal swabs every day and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, in a weird way, it bonds you together.
Yeah. Well, Coach, let's talk about the actual bracket side of it, the seeding, unbalanced seeding. Kind of look at the tiebreakers too, what that looks like. If you can kind of open that up and get into some of the more basketball talk, and then we'll kind of start to preview that first game against Sacramento State on Wednesday.
Yeah, so let me just, as I talk for a second, I'll pull this up. So what's interesting about it is that it's the seeding. It's really hard. Just the whole thing. Well, who is the real champion and this and that? Just because it's not balanced. And like, I'll give you an example. One of the teams that's in the top 5, and the top 5 teams get a bye, right? Last year we were the 2 seed, so you get a bye, and sometimes that's bad. But for us, on our side of it, there's one team in the top 5, so that's one of the 5 teams. That means there's 4 other teams in that top 5. That means in a normal year, you play those teams 8 times, right? Every team twice, 8 times. That particular team played only 2 of those 8 games. So they really, did they really earn the bye? I don't know. But it's just, instead of playing 8 really hard games, they played 2. And so, like I mentioned for us too, as I share my screen here, I'll pull this up again. Here it is.
Yep.
Okay, so even for us, can you see that bracket, Brady?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. So, we tied for 7. We lost a tiebreaker. One game, we would have gone from 8 to 5. So, yeah, it's frustrating, but at the same point in time, I think what Matt said, what's exciting is we play a team we've never played before. And I was talking to another coach in the Big Sky. I believe that every game in the first round, so our game, this PSU Northern Arizona game, Montana, Idaho, and the only other game that's set up, the Idaho State, Montana State, all 4 of those games, none of those teams have ever played each other, which is wild. I mean, your season's on the line in your conference tournament, and none of us have played each other. And so I think that's really interesting. But, for us with the seeding, we feel good about it. This is going to be a great game. It's a 9 a.m. game, which is not ideal, but we're the only team in the league outside of Montana because we played them at 9 a.m. No one's played a 9 a.m. game except for us, and so we're going to use that as an advantage to us and try to sell it to our guys. Playing Southern Utah, if we can get past this game, or just, pretty much our whole focus is, getting past Sac State, which that'll be a great battle. They're good, they're tough, they're physical. But if we can get past it, Utah, another team that we haven't played this year, they ended our season 2 years ago when we were in the bye situation and they had to play into it, and they came in and they just killed us. They beat us by 30. So, we've been in this situation before. The year that we made a big run and we went to the CIT, we were 5 seed and we played the 12, and that was Northern Arizona. The next game we played Weber State, who we weren't even close to all year, and then we beat them by 30. So we've had success playing in this first game and then having success in the second game. But as we all know about the first game, you got to get through the first game and then kind of go from there. But with Sacramento State, what I think we want to do, Coach Farringer's our lead scout in this one. So we're not going to show you a full scout and bore you guys to death. But what we thought would be fun, and hopefully you can share a screen, what we thought would be cool is just what happens in preparation-wise is 2 days before the game, we show our guys live film, about 8 minutes of live action. And that's what we'll do tonight. Monday night, we're going to show our guys just flow the game, offense, defense, talk a little bit. Then it starts making more sense to our team. But then the day before the game, which is tomorrow in the situation, the lead scout, and this takes about 30 to 40 hours of prep work, he will be presenting the personnel tape. I guess that's probably an outdated term, but the personnel tape for Sacramento State. So what we thought we'd do is just pull out a little piece of that and show you just kind of a slide of one of their players and just a few clips so you can see kind of what our guys will see tomorrow night. So, Coach Farringer, I'm going to throw you on the spot and see if you can unmute and share your screen. See if this works, man. I'll give the floor to you for a quick one.
Odds of that happening are like my half-court shot. It's not very good. I'm going to be technologically savvy during this event, as I made 0 shots from half-court all year long. I was committed to not making that half-quarter. Coach Green, I see you, man. But yeah, I'll jump into this, Coach, and I think it'll work out as I can share the screen. And before we get into it, like Coach said, 30, 40 hours. I think what we try to expect of our coaching staff is around 5 to 6 games per team. So earlier in the year, we had 5 to 6 games cut on Sacramento State. In order to play them, the series was canceled. So we put in our time. We're really data driven, so we cut everything individually and collectively. Well, then you turn around and you play them in the playoffs. And so now we have 4 games. So it's all said and done. We have about 12 games clipped of Sacramento State, both individual clips of every player, as well as team clips offensively and defensively, what they like to do. And so let me share this screen and see how far I can get here.
This is a big deal for Coach Farringer on the technology. I'm curious to see if this is going to work.
Hey, he's already doing better
Can you
than
see
I
it
do.
right now, Coach?
Yeah. We see it.
I got
a lot of stuff on your
thumbs
desktop.
up. Hey, yeah, so that's what I wanted to pull up here is on the desktop. You'll see that all this information to begin
Wow.
with is everything we have going in Sacramento State game that's been clipped, cut, and then when you see like the white squares where it says like Sac State organizer or Sac State playoff, that's where all the data now goes inputted into for us to now break, chop, put together in order for the players to have. Eventually what we do is we start to create a movie, and you start to have every player lined up, from Davis, their point guard, Fitzpatrick, their shooter, Terrell, a sniper on the wing. But the guy we're going to focus on is Esposito, their 5-man, who's averaging about 18.5 points per game. Once we do this, we create a movie where it'll be presented to the players in this form, where we can now show them their season statistics up to that point. Let me see if I can. Season statistics up to that point, as well as what they believe that they're going to accomplish in his game, how we plan on defending them as well. And so Esposito right now, as you see, is averaging 18.3 points per game, nearly 50% from the field on 250 attempts. He plays 34 minutes. I know he's going to be out on the floor. And then other things we pay attention to would be like his field goal percent, which is at 9 at 41 for 22. But ultimately also a 5-man, a lot of touches. He does get to the free throw line and essentially makes 3 out of 4 while rebounding the ball at nearly 8 a game. And a lot of those are offensive as well, which help him create offense. As we go through this, I'll make this a little larger for us. That work, Coach?
Yeah, it's perfect.
All
And I
good.
think as Coach gets into that film too, just as it gets in those clips, you can see too, like all we want to do is keep it for the 40 hours we do. We don't want to inundate them with too much. So, the key is what do you cut out of it? And you can see like he's their best player, and we have 4 bullet points for what his game is. Only 4. And then we have 4 bullet points for how we're going to guard him, and that's it. And, as a scouting coach, you probably want to have about 15 points on each one to cover it all, but the players can't retain that much, especially when you're going over 8 or 9 guys. So it's 4 and 4, and that's max. Some guys might only have 3 and 3. So now that's good, Coach, to get those clips.
So, yep. And then so as we go through his game, he would be considered a driver. And on our scout, we list them as drivers, which are guys that really put their head down, try to get to the rim, or snipers, the guys that are really just out there catching, shooting threes. Or lastly, a player where they can drive it or they can shoot it to help our guys get an idea. And you'll see AMAP as much as possible. Our guys get to know language. We tell them where they're going to get the ball, which is usually on the left block. What happens if they do shoot it? And then ultimately, like for Esposito, he's going to be relentless long against us Wednesday morning, get into the rim, whether he's in the post or on the perimeter. And then we'll give them some options on how to defend, like Coach showed you on the film as far as getting bent. You can really not get bent when he drives the basketball because he gets an angle to the rim. And we'll dive into this as well as we start the clips. And so to give our guys an idea how tough this might be, the first clip, we get a chance to see the 5-man rebound the basketball, push in transition, and then find their sniper for a 3. And this is going to be really challenging as we have to find different matchups on who to guard Esposito throughout foul trouble. But I can tell you this right now, Coach Smiley is going to be heated and hot if we give up rebounds that lead to transition basketballs where there's 2 men on the basketball and the one guy left open is their best shooter on the team. And so that's a recipe for how to lose. So this first clip is to make sure our guys understand that there's a lot that Esposito is going to bring to the table. This next clip is again just to show how skilled their 5-man is, which is to get out on the perimeter and be able to shoot step back 2s over other players which this guy looks like it's positive. My connection is unstable. There's another all 5-man from Montana State. In half court, this is going to be something that looks really simple. They're just going to dribble down and give him the basketball on the block. And then the other 4 guys on the perimeter are going to make actions to try to make sure he can stay one-on-one on the block versus someone like Kaur, which would be hard for him to guard all night long. Really puts his head down, tries to get the other side. And ultimately, all that contact is going to lead to a foul on Weber State, to a guy that's shooting 75% from the line. So on the scout, defending without fouling is a big deal. This is another action that you'll see often on Wednesday, which is a rub with a shooter at the free throw line and their 5-man coming off a ball screen from a guard, which would be difficult as both players are in different situations than they usually are in practice and in most scouts.
They're
We
really
talk to the guys about a similar act as they're showing to the ball and trying to make sure that they make him stay down without fouling and hopefully lead to misses. We'll show the same clip here because this would be to follow up on how not to guard. And so as we come, it should be the same type of defense for Weber State, but when he jumps out, a 5-man averaging 19 a game, the Big Sky is able to split it, get to the rim, and draw a foul. Essentially, what we're going to ask our team to do is be really good defensively, and this is one of the worst shots in basketball percentage-wise is a pull-up 2. And we're going to ask them to push their 5-man to shoot these pull-up 2s, and if he makes with it, it's just going to be a long night for us. Baseline out of bounds, we give them ideas on what's going to come on baseline out of bounds. And again, difficult is they're going to put their best shooter in ball screen basketball near Esposito near the rim. And again, is going to be defense leading to a foul. A really tough spot is Sacramento State is going to try to put us in awkward situations throughout the morning on Wednesday. We like to follow it up with reasons that we can get stops and things that we have to lead them to as well. So we'd like to see the players or have the players visually see how we can win their matchup. So another baseline out of bounds. Our guys are going to have to be really tough all night long against Esposito. Downhill, make him counter, make him for tough 2s. And we can live with those results. We have to read. On the outside, you're going to see again, Esposito doesn't just stand on the block. He's also shot over 43s. And ultimately, you don't want to dare anyone to make shots in college as they practice too. But what we're going to ask our bigs to do is able to help on drives, who this kid's one of their better players and can really attack the rim. We are going to ask whoever is guarding Esposito to help put some pressure on the basketball, all while still getting out to contest jump shots.
No,
we start to find things that they like to go to as far as specials for their players. And so this is a common action in basketball that we like to call dribble. And so we have to try to find ways to see actions like this coming, where this is a special ISO to get the ball moved with extra passes, and then have their best shooter shoots a lot of threes at a high level, screening their best post player.
Really hard to do alone.
So we find specials, we find tendencies, we find habits.
Stay right there, like you're sitting.
But what we're going to ask our guys to do at the end of the day is to be tough and try to put this man on the bench by beating him to spots, putting your pride down, and taking charges in the test by being physical. And I believe there's one more, just as you see how tough this guy can be, putting his head down. I mean, shoosh. Our guys are going to have to do a great job.
That's big time, Coach. Like Coach said, it's such a funky deal. Like, I haven't gotten much sleep trying to figure out how to guard these guys because they're so weird. They got a big old lumbering 5-man that's good, that he's actually using the ball screens and not playing these guys all year. And the whole thing is they have to guard us too, right? But it is one of those deals where it's a weird thing. So that's a great job, Coach. And just showing you guys kind of what our guys go through, preparation, and that's where things get so detailed for both sides of it. Going to these games, they really turn it into those old chess matches, Brady.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thanks, Coach Farringer, for breaking that down for us too. I'm always fascinated by the amount of film study that you guys do when it's just an individual player. You're looking at the whole body of work with the team. Like you said, it's hours upon hours of study. So Coach Farringer, great job. What I also was thinking about while watching that, Coach Smiley, I remember at the beginning of the season talking about how many scouting reports you've had. You essentially had to scrap because you're scouting a team and then a game's canceled. That has to be like the worst nightmare for a coach scouting these teams out with all the work that goes into it.
Bad for all of us, but it's really bad for the assistants. I mean, they put so much time, and then you get that call 30 minutes before, you just throw it out.
Yeah,
you got to be kidding me. So it's demoralizing. it's demoralizing, Brady. Sure.
I can't imagine. Coach, moving on here, and again, thanks to Coach Farringer for breaking that down for us. Let's talk about the postseason, what that looks like. It's essentially NCAA or bust. Am I right? We've got interesting things going on with the NIT, CBI, and the CIT.
Yeah, and we have just a few items left for the people. Just kind of rip through quick, but no, so the postseason really is, Brady. It's pretty much NCAA or bust. The NIT has dropped down to, I think, 16 teams, and usually what happens is if you win your league, but you don't win your tournament, you get an automatic bid to the NIT, which is the second biggest tournament. That is not the case this year. They scrapped all that, and so that's out the window. And then the CIT, which is what the tournament we won, they've canceled the second year in a row because the only one left, the CBI, is trying to create a 16-team tournament in Florida, which again, it's just different than what it used to be. It used to be at host sites, and you could travel the host sites, you could host the game, but now it's just, again, I would be shocked if 16 teams actually play in that CBI. So you're right, Brady. It's pretty much postseason or bust in terms of the NCAA. It's March Madness, go dancing, or
Hey, I like the mentality. I like it. It's good, man. How about, Coach, we have a few more minutes, a few more items, and then we're going to wrap up, but kind of an update on recruits. I'm excited to see both of these guys, Dalton Connect and Balon Black. Can you give us some updates there on how these guys are doing?
They've had great years. So Dalton Connect is our junior college transfer from right down the road on the Eastern Plains, Northeastern Junior College in Sterling. Both these kids we signed in the fall, so we're allowed to actually talk about them, but Dalton is right averaging 24 points a game in one of the better junior college leagues in the country. I would be shocked if he wasn't some form of an All-American. Who knows, first, second, third team. But, I mean, he probably will be in the conversation, depending on how his team finishes. He might be in the conversation for player of the year. With that being said, I mean, he's a guy that we do expect to come in and have a massive impact on our program because he plays multiple spots. But he's really, really good. And like I said, he's had a great year, 24 points a game. His team has won 8 games in a row. They're 9-3 right now. Should be in the top 25 soon, but he's done a really good job. And then Balon Black is our senior guard, 6'4", 6'5" guard from Phoenix, Arizona. plays point guard and two guard. He just broke his school's all-time assist record, and then he also just broke 1,000 points in his career, which in high school is not easy to do. That's a lot of points in high school. And so he's had a great year as well. They're entering the state tournament. I think they're the 2 seed in 5A classification in Arizona, and they won the state championship last year. So they're trying to defend their title. So 2 kids that not only are good players, but they're both winners. And so that's really exciting for us. And we think the world of them, obviously, and we think they got a chance to be really good.
Yeah, pumped to see both of those guys soon too. Coach, we'll transition now. Again, a few more minutes left, but now we kind of get to the fundraising projects for next year, what the plans are, and kind of summarize that with a few different bullet points. I think are we going to bring Jenny Shoup in too here momentarily to kind of run down a few things for us?
Yeah, I think the biggest one, and the one that people talked about a lot, obviously with our foundation, with fundraising, with Darren and our administration, is the SPC, the Strength Performance Center. So Jenny Shoup is much more of an expert on that than I am. So she said she's willing to give us a quick update on where we're at on that project, which is game changing for all of our athletes, all of our teams, but really exciting for us as well. So Jenny, why don't you take the floor real quick?
Sure. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. And Darren, Dunn, please feel free to chime in if I leave anything out. But we are very close to wrapping up the fundraising for this $3.75 million building. We are nearing the last, $50,000 to $75,000. So thank you to everyone who's participated already. And those who are maybe considering participating, we encourage you to take advantage of the Bank of Colorado is doing another $25,000 match, one-to-one match. That email will go out later this week. So please consider supporting that project. It is certainly, as Coach mentioned, crucial not only for basketball, but for every sport program here at UNC, and also a huge recruiting tool. And a momentous occasion for UNC. This is the first 100% donor-funded building to be put on UNC's campus. So lots to be excited about. Lots of work has gone into it, and lots of work still to come, but hoping to break ground, I believe in the next probably 1 to 3 months. I know that's a wide range, but we don't have an official groundbreaking date, but that is on the horizon, and hope all of you will join in and participate in this special project. So anything else, Coach?
No, it's great, Jenny. That's the it's such exciting news, and for everyone that's helped out on that, and Jenny and obviously Darren and President Feinstein just making this actually happen. I've been here 5 years, and we've always talked about it, but for it to really be coming to fruition is so exciting for everybody. So no, thank you to everyone for that. That's a big deal.
Yeah, no question about it, Coach. A few more bullet points to kind of go through as far as the locker room upgrades, and then we'll get to the possibility of a foreign trip too.
Yeah, I think those are probably the last 2 things. I mean, the locker room, just we're if we didn't have COVID, and I haven't been in our locker room this whole year. I haven't been in our locker room one time. We don't meet in our locker room for social distancing and spacing. We meet in a big classroom, and so we've had some funds for that have been raised, and we're working on some more too. But we're going to have a pretty big locker room upgrade coming on this spring, and that's just another big thing for our guys. I think you get through a season like this, and just been up and down, to have some of these things happening. Hey, there's a new weight room coming, locker room is getting upgraded, and they spend so much time in that locker room in a normal season. So new doors, new branding, things like that. So we're really excited about that. And then, like you said, Brady, probably the last thing is just the possibility of a foreign trip. We're up on our cycle, which every 4th year you have the ability from the NCAA to take a foreign trip. And 4 years ago we did that. It was after our first year here when we came off that postseason ban from the previous staff. We won 10 games, and we had a bunch of guys like Andre Spite sitting out that year. And we knew that one, it was a great thing for our guys just going through a tough year, but 2, to blend a bunch of talented guys together and really kind of get our team figured out a little bit earlier was a big deal. And obviously, I think we went to the Virgin Islands, and we ended up that year, at the end of the year, we ended up winning that CIT and breaking the school record for wins and all that other stuff we did. And I do believe being on that, being a part of that, and the kid that was on that, I believe, was Matt Johnson on this current team. I think it was a big deal. And it's a big deal for recruiting and all that other stuff as well. But as we move into next year, working on, obviously, with COVID and safety and fundraising and all the things, trying to make sure we do it right if it works out, but it's something we're looking at. Because we do have a bunch of, like we mentioned, the recruits can be on that trip, and just blending a team together is a big thing. So yeah, Brady, we're working on that too, and probably making a push on that here in the near future. But super excited about a few things that are coming down the line, and these guys, being what they've been through this year, they've certainly earned and deserved to have some pretty cool stuff coming up for them for sure.
Yeah, maybe now more than ever, as we talked about with the disconnect throughout the last year, I suppose. So could be a really cool opportunity. Absolutely.
Yep.
Coach, we'll throw it out. If we have any questions, you guys can throw them up on the chat there. I know we're wrapping up here, but do want to remind everybody, game will be on Pluto TV as well. We'll get it on, of course, 1310 KFKA. Jason Alvin, the voice of the Bears, will be broadcasting on both sides, but coverage for us begins at 8:30 and tip off at 9:00 Mountain Time. Nice and early on a Wednesday morning.
Nice and early. And I do think that on that day we test, I think after the game, I was like, when are we going to test 5 a.m.? Like, what are we doing here? But I think the rule is you're allowed to test after the game on your game day if it's early. But as Brady mentioned, yeah, it's 9 a.m. Sacramento State, Pluto TV, and it's going to be a great game. I mean, they're good, they're tough, they're physical. It's going to be just a really, really unique situation. So getting out there and getting ready to compete. I know our guys are pumped about it. I think we're in a good place, and I think we have a chance to make a run. But as we told them, it's one day at a time. That's all you're guaranteed is one day. So.
Yeah, and again, folks, there's a lot of information on the side. If you look on your chat screen there too, there's information on the games and anything else as far as information with the Round Ball Club. And it's just not possible without all these wonderful supporters that are jumping in, helping this program grow, especially in a very difficult time with COVID too. So I know, Coach, these meetings are pretty special to you to be able to talk to the Round Ball Club really and give them updates. And like I said, there's not a lot like it. It's a very unique setup. And I know this is a special get together for you and your coach and your staff and your players.
I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining in from afar. And we really appreciate it. There's, just even this year with the tournament, there's really not gonna be many fans here. And it's such a weird thing. So any way that we can just connect and keep everyone updated on our program through these Zooms, through our monthly newsletter, just through all that different stuff, just keeping everyone connected. It's really important to us just to stay connected to the people that support us. So thank you all for what you do too. We really appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks again. It's been I think it's been another fun time. I love getting the video or the footage, whether it's a recap of the games before. And of course, Coach Farringer doing a great job of breaking down some of the Sac State. I mean, again, I know that's just a blip on the radar as far as what you actually break down, but we're pumped. We cannot wait to get this thing going. Thanks everyone for joining us, and coaches, players, great. Good luck this Wednesday. We'll be rooting for you.
All right. Thanks everybody. Have a great night.
All right, guys. See ya.